I've been cooking since I was really young, 8 years old, believe it or not.
Wow.
I'm from Fiji Islands, and my mom never took us to restaurant. We always had homemade meals. So when I moved to Canada, my first time went to restaurant when I was 23, I believe. Because we always had fresh breakfast, lunch, dinner, so we never went out to eat. Yeah, so it was really nice. My mom, I think, was my inspiration because I was very particular, with what I eat, and and very mindful of healthy food and things like that. Lived in 5 different countries. One of the countries was China back in early 2000.
Wow.
They eat very healthy food, a lot of vegetables.
Where else besides China and Fiji?
I lived in Canada, and then here, and then in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was traveling in my 20s. In China, I was teaching English, actually. I was an ESL teacher. So it was just very inspiring because I think food is amazing everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go, especially if it's authentic and it's not preserved or frozen. Like if you really cook it authentically, food is so different.
The jackfruit is amazing. It tastes just like pork,
Exactly. So I was cooking, and my friends, and I was a therapist before this whole thing happened. I was a behavioral therapist, worked with kids diagnosed with autism.
Wow.
And my friends would be like, hey, you need to open a restaurant. And I was like, I was like, no, I love cooking because I would always cook and feed my friends. And my friends are not plant-based at all. They're all meat eaters. And they're like, this is so good. They're like, we like it. You need to put it out. And I was like, no, I don't think so. So during COVID, all this politics happened. And I didn't want to get vaccinated. So the therapy jobs was like not, in my favor. And it kind of went down the hill for me. So my partner was like, hey, why don't you start cooking? So we started doing events around San Diego. We did a lot of like psychic events, just regular events. There was no plant-based events I have ever been to. And I would say 90% of the customers I had, they were meat eaters. So they started enjoying my jackfruit as I started. Yeah, they started enjoying my jackfruit, and then I started making everything. And then I met this lady, the owner from the resort, which is Quiet Mind, right across from Lake Cuyamaca. And she hired me to be her chef for her gourmet packages. So I started making meals for her, and I got big clientele after that because they got so busy and stuff. And it was really amazing because all the people who came to the resort were not even plant-based. So I started getting a lot of feedbacks, like what people like the most. So I make like lasagna, ramen, pastas, things like that. So I noticed that the people who came to the resort, they loved my lasagna, which is eggplant lasagna with vegan cheese. It has no meat in it. So I started like building my menu. I created all my menu by myself.
It's amazing. And tell us your name again?
Rosie.
Rosie.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And I just started my journey, and then I started looking for a restaurant. I was like, you know what? I think I want to do this because people enjoy my food.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I make everything in-house here. All the salsa, the chipotle sauce.
That was really good.
We marinate everything here fresh in the morning. All the pastries are freshly baked. Everything's plant-based. The pico de gallo is made fresh. So everything's made fresh in the morning. Like nothing's preserved overnight, frozen. And I eat that way, so I wanted to introduce that, we can still eat that way. And don't have to break your bank and spend a lot of money. And and then I found Julian, and I fell in love. We were actually supposed to move here, but then we found the restaurant first before we found the house. So it was just amazing how everything just aligned, and then we ended up being here. And I found this place, and I fell in love because my business name is Kali's Garden. So I'm still transforming this place right now. It's only been 2 weeks. So I want to make like plants and vines and flowers. So I want to make